Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video we're going to cover the Season 7 Ascension patch notes for Apex Legends. Before we start off the video, if you enjoy it, hitting the like button really helps out the channel, and you can even maybe consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this. Alright, so the patch notes for Season 7 dropped a little bit ahead of the actual season, so we're going to go through them here real quick, go through the most interesting points. There'll be links to the full patch notes in the description down below, as well as any top pinned comment, but for now, let's get into the nitty gritty. So Season 7 launches on November 4th at 8 p.m. PT, which is a weird time, so that means it's going to be 11 at night for us on the Eastern time zone, and that would make it pretty early morning if you're in the EU, but that is the launch time. So now let's jump into the patch notes. Season 7, obviously the new legend is Horizon, so meet Horizon. She's the newest legend, a brilliant scientist and a master of gravity manipulation. She has a deep connection to the new arena and a motivation that will tug at your heartstrings. Horizon's custom spacesuit allows her to fall from great heights and control her movements in the air using her custom technology. She can use gravity lifts to give her teammate a vertical boost, and she can deploy Newt, her small robot named after her son, Newton, to drop a micro black hole that pulls opponents into the center for some serious crowd control. So her passive is called Spacewalk. Increase air control and reduce fall impacts with Horizon's custom spacesuit. So I imagine that you won't get the delay that other characters get when they fall from somewhere high between the time that you fall and you can actually start running again. Next, we got her tactical gravity lift, reverse the flow of gravity, lifting players upward and boosting them outward when they exit. And the ultimate black hole, deploy Newt to create a micro black hole that sucks in nearby legends. Now this sounds really powerful. The new map, obviously Olympus, the legends have entered a new arena, the Sky City of Olympus, a utopia floating in clouds above Samathe. I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation for that. It was once a place where the brightest minds in the Outlands could gather and exchange ideas. However, an accident in an experimental research facility led to the creation of the Phase Rift, a massive bubble of phase energy, and the city was abandoned. Now players can use Olympus's luxurious amenities to their advantage. Rotating agriculture towers, beautiful gardens, and classy restaurants serve as new stages for intense skirmishes. New vehicles called Tridents give your squad a way to boost into battle and take your enemies by surprise. The Phase Runner, a tunnel of phase energy running through the center of Olympus, lets you cross the map in seconds. And the Rift stands tall over everything, mysterious and beckoning. New vehicle, obviously the Trident. Exclusive to Olympus, the Trident is a hovercar designed for your whole squad. Cruise the highways to avoid choke points or use the boost to soar over jumps. This thing is made to speed up those early game rotations, drive in third person or ride as a passenger in first person with full shooting capabilities. The Trident is durable, so it will never explode, but damage applied from enemy fire will be dispersed amongst the players in the car. Don't worry, you can still do full damage to players by hitting them directly, so we expect to see some amazing Kraber shots. Disembark to park it anywhere and use it as makeshift cover in the late game. The Trident interacts with legend abilities in many different ways, experiment, and have fun. So LTM, right when the season launches, Olympus Preview. To help you understand and explore the map without fear of getting shot, we are introducing a new playlist called Olympus Preview. This mode teams you up with 30 legends on Olympus and allows you to roam the map to learn map drops, loot areas, and practice your routes to the end game. Circles are still on, and once Circle 4 finishes, players are brought back up to the plane to start the second skydive run. There are a total of 3 runs before the match ends. This mode is only available for 1 week. Also introducing clubs in Season 7, so with this season we are introducing clubs. Join a club with like-minded legends and make it easier to find your champion squad. Don't see a particular club you like? Then create one and let your friends know to join. Read more on clubs here. I will more than likely make a separate video talking about the clubs. Steam. So boot up Steam and start downloading and play Apex Legends. If you're coming from Origin, all your progress and unlocks will carry over. And for a limited time, log into Steam and receive these Half-Life and Portal-inspired weapon charms. Battle Pass. The Season 7 Battle Pass is all about that high fashion. Level up your pass to unlock the skins like the Wraith High Class and Octane's Fast Fashion. Challenges are no longer points-based and are now granted between 1 to 5 stars, depending on their difficulty. Collecting 10 stars will take you to the next Battle Pass level. We also have added tabs to the challenges menu in the lobby that allow you to toggle between daily, top weekly, and event challenges. Within a match, players can open the map and see this same widget in-game, so that is absolutely fantastic. For more on the changes to challenges, check out this dev blog. So that'll be linked in the description down below. Quality of life updates, attachment swap improvements. When replacing an attachment with one from the ground, if the old attachment is an improvement for your other weapon, the old attachment will get automatically transferred. This is absolutely fantastic. Replicator updates. For Season 7, we have removed weapons from the crafting pool and have replaced them with shield batteries. The high-level attachments will still be tailored towards a weapon category. We now prevent other players from picking up items that you crafted for the first 5 seconds after crafting. This can be disabled by pinging the item. So this means there's not as much of a dependency on the replicator if your favorite weapon is in there. Airdrop clarity. The colors of the beams have been changed to differentiate between normal airdrops, Lifeline's airdrops, and replicator airdrops. Normal drops are a light tan, Lifeline's drops are blue, and replicator drops are teal. All of the airdrops landing area effects while it's coming down now matches their colors. Airdrop beams still stay visible when close to the airdrop. Instead of fading when you get close, the beam still disappears when the pod is opened. Miscellaneous. The Arc Star now shows an Arc Star model when one is thrown near you instead of a grenade. Added a new voiceover line when you are using a Phoenix kit. Added a new voiceover line when you drop a holo spray. You can now ping ammo in your inventory to request more from your squad. Made modifications to the ring to reduce the amount of unplayable spaces in the circles. Map rotations. So regular map rotation. For 2 weeks, Olympus will be the only map you can play on. After that week, we go into a normal rotation between Olympus and World's Edge. We will be vaulting King's Canyon for the time being. Season 7 ranked rotation. The first half of ranked split will be on Olympus, and the second half of ranked will be on World's Edge. Moving on to the Legend meta. Bangalore. Rolling Thunder reduced the time it takes for explosion from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. Dev note, not much to say here. Rolling Thunder will continue to function primarily as a zoning ability, but with a somewhat shorter fuse. It will encourage enemies to leave the zone slightly faster. Caustic. Nox Gas Trap / Nox Gas Grenade. Legends no longer get a blurred vision effect while in the gas. Damage updated from 4 to 10 ticks of damage to 6 to 12 ticks of damage. Dev note, fighting in caustic gas is one of the most frustrating things in Apex Legends, and yet we need the gas to represent a meaningful threat or else enemies will just ignore it. With this change, we're attacking what we think is the greatest contributor to this frustration, the fact that your vision is blurred while you're in the gas. This made it extremely hard to fight back. To make up for lost power, we're upping the damage from the gas a bit. Mirage. Psych out / life of the party. Decoys now have 45 health. Dev note, our Bamboozler in Chief is a hard legend to keep relevant. Every time we make a change to decoys, there is a clear uptick in usage and power as Mirage mains learn to use their new tools, and then as the rest of the world catches on and starts being able to tell the real Mirage from his equally handsome holographs, that uptick disappears. This time around, we want to try and make it a little bit harder to clear out decoys. We're giving them health, but to make this very clear up front, they will not work as a shield. While they take damage from bullets, the bullet also passes through them and hits whatever's behind them. This is what we call the hallway test. You should not be able to win an engagement against an enemy in a straight, coverless hallway by snapcasting a decoy and having said decoy eat an entire wingman shot. Decoys will also play unique hit effects and briefly flicker out of existence when taking damage to help you differentiate between them and the real Mirage. Octane, Swift Mend. Doubled healing rate from 0.5 HP per second to 1 HP per second. Dev note, Octane is a legend for players who like to go fast, run face first into the enemy, and get knocked down a lot. We think that's absolutely fine. The fact that his trio's win rate isn't great doesn't really bother us because both his encounter win rate, think of this as his ability to score knockdowns, and his pick rate are very healthy. That said, we figured we could give him a little extra out of combat help. His passive's heal rate was very slow, requiring up to 200 seconds to fully heal your health bar. Wattson, Perimeter Security, increased damage per touch from 10 to 15. Dev note, Wattson is the anti-Octane, not super powerful individually, not picked very often at all below plat, but an absolute must-have for competitive squads. We're also happy with that niche, but figured it would be safe to give her a little extra power in her best case. people running into her fences. We're aiming for this to bring up her power and attractiveness at lower levels of play, especially since we don't see a lot of players run into Wattson fences in high skill matches. Loba, Black Market. Ammo taken no longer counts towards Black Market's maximum. You can scoop up all the ammo in range. That is incredibly powerful. Dev note, we're taking another swing at making Loba the ultimate legend to bring to solve all of your team's loot needs. We have heard your feedback that you want improvements to her tactical as well, and while that's certainly not off the table, our data suggests that her encounter win rate, how many knockdowns she gets compared to how many times she's knocked down across all matches, is quite healthy. It's her trio's win rate that's worryingly low. Make no mistake, this is a major swing at making Black Market powerful. Rampart. Sheila now takes 1.25 seconds to fully spin up, down from 2 seconds, and Amped Wall now takes 3 seconds to fully build, down from 4 seconds. Dev note, in patch 6.1, we made a small change to how long it takes Sheila to tighten her bullet spread. This didn't meaningfully increase her win rate. The other half of that change is in this patch. We do not want to change Rampart away from being a legend that requires setup, but we do want to make it faster to set up. Amped Wall should remain a mostly out of combat setup ability rather than a reactive ability, and Sheila should remain an area denial tool rather than a murder machine. But like all things, these balance points exist on a spectrum, and with this patch, we're moving them slightly closer to reactive/murder machine territory. Pathfinder. Dev note, Pathfinder continues to be an overachiever in terms of win rate. The good news is that his grapple change in 6.1 didn't move his win rate by much. It went up 1% in total. We're doing two things with this patch. We're adjusting his hitboxes, and we're putting in tuning for grappling hook that will firmly move it into buff territory. More context below. Hitbox. Pathfinder has a tall but extremely skinny hitbox. A lot of his model isn't actually shootable, and particularly his arm and legs do not represent a whole lot of shootable area either. Here is a before and after comparison of Pathfinder's hitboxes, as you can see on screen now. As you can see, there is still a lot of negative space around his arms and legs. We're hoping that by making it a little easier to hit Pathfinder, we can bring his win rate under control to the point where we can put meaningful power into his kit. Because the question is sure to come up, we are not yet removing low profile from Pathfinder with this change. Even with these increased hitboxes, Pathfinder will still be considerably harder to hit than most other characters in the game. If this change does make a meaningful difference in terms of his win rate, we will drop low profile. But we really didn't want to take it off him this patch, only to have to put it back next patch when it turns out his win rate spiked. Grappling hook. We're making a number of changes to grappling hook. In 6.1, we shipped a very conservative version of this change. Now that we know this didn't meaningfully affect his win rate, or anecdotally how frustrating it is to fight him, we're shipping the much more aggressive version of the changeless. We also want to make it clear that players should not be punished for chaining grappling hook perfectly into other movement mechanics. Pathfinder no longer needs to be on the ground for grappling hook to be considered finished. The speed to which Pathfinder needs to drop for us to consider grappling hook finished was increased from 300 units per second to 500 units per second. The maximum cooldown for the grappling hook was lowered to 30 seconds from 35 seconds. The maximum amount of travel time before a new cooldown is set is now 5 seconds, rather than being uncapped. This means that effectively you can never incur more than a 35-second cooldown. The amount of distance you can travel before you hit maximum cooldown was roughly doubled. Weapon meta. Supply drop. R99 out of supply drop, so the R99 will be returning to the normal loot pool this season with the same stats it had before it went into the supply drop at the start of Season 6. Damage 12 to 11 from care package version to normal pre-season 6, ammo 20, 22, 24, and 27 for all of the mags respectively. Prowler is now in the supply drop. The Prowler is replacing the R99 in the supply drop. Despite the select fire hop-up being removed from the loot pool this season, the Prowler will still have the ability to change between 5-round bursts and full auto. The magazine size is 35 and the reserve ammo is 175. So fully kitted weapons, gold, removed Devotion, Mastiff, Triple Take, Flatline, and Volt, and added the Wingman, Sentinel, Havoc, G7, and Alternator. The Hemlock, increasing horizontal recoil of the first 3 shots slightly to the right, first burst when in burst mode, increasing recoil magnitude in the later stages of the pattern, reducing recoil multiplier in single fire mode to help compensate for additional recoil in pattern. Recoil should mostly be increased in burst mode rather than single fire mode. reducing headshot multiplier from 2.0 to 1.75, so 44 damage to 39 damage headshot against no helmet-based character. Dev notes, while we are happy to see the Hemlock get more attention with the recent buffs, we think it is a little too strong in Season 6. The effective range of the burst mode felt a bit too far, and the spike damage capabilities of a full headshot burst were too strong in high-level play. Havoc, updated recoil pattern, kicks up, then right, then left, then up again. Dev notes, with 6.0 the Havoc got a new recoil pattern. This new recoil pattern was a bit too erratic and difficult to control due to multiple rapid changes in direction. We have adjusted the recoil pattern to have the same general movement while simplifying the motions required to control the pattern. L-Star. L-Star has a new recoil pattern that kicks horizontally at first and then settles into a relatively consistent upward recoil. Players who feather the trigger will be able to keep the L-Star in the good portion of the recoil pattern. L-Star venting time after letting go of the trigger has been reduced from 0.4 seconds to 0.15 seconds. L-Star will now reduce heat faster when not overheated, 1.15 seconds from 99.9% to 0% charge if not overheated, still 2.45 seconds if overheated. Dev notes, the L-Star had some limitations that caused it to feel worse than we'd like. The recoil pattern snaked back and forth, which was difficult to control reliably. Additionally, firing for short bursts and then releasing the trigger repeatedly, or feathering the trigger, felt somewhat clunky due to the long venting time after firing and the slow heat reduction. So we are reducing those pain points to improve the viability and feel of feathering the trigger, and adjusting the recoil pattern to reward players who can effectively control the L-Star's heat. Sentinel. Energized Sentinel now has a pure damage increase instead of bonus damage only versus shields. Energized Sentinel base damage from 70 to 88. The Sentinel was still a bit weak. We think a good place to improve it is the Energize ability. It seems a bit too situational, only being a benefit if the opponent has over 70 shields. So we are changing the Energize from a Disruptor anti-shield effect to an Amp damage boost effect. Triple Take, fire rate, reduced from 1.3 to 1.2. Dev note, the triple take is still performing a bit too well after the most recent nerf, so we are reducing the fire rate back to what it was before patch 6.0. We will be watching in the future to see how just the integrated choke, sniper ammo increase, and new popularity affect the weapon's performance. Hop-ups. Quick Draw Holster Hop-Up. This new hop-up attaches to the RE45 and the Wingman. When equipped, the gun becomes quicker to raise and lower, takes less time to ADS, and has reduced hipfire spread, particularly when not actively moving. This should open up new opportunities to use the two weapons, especially in close quarter combat. The Select Fire Receiver hop-up will be removed from the loot pool to make room. Game meta changes. Evo Armor requirements increased. We increased the requirements to evolve Evo Armor in order to reduce the amount of players with red Evo Armor during the end game. So from level 0 to 1, you now require 100 damage from 50. Level 1 to 2 is now 150. Before was 125, level 2 to 3 is now 300 damage, and before was 250, and level 3 to 4, 750 damage, up from 500. Ring damage reduced. Ring 1, 2% per tick, same. Ring 2, 3% per tick, was 5 before. Particularly, this change should allow players enough time to pop a syringe if they are picked up in ring number 2. Ring 3, 5% per tick, down from 10. Ring 4, 10% per tick, down from 20. Ring 5, 10% per tick, down from 20. Ring 6, 15% per tick, down from 25%, and Ring 7, 15% per tick, down from 25. Bug fixes. Audio. We've made some advancements in footstep audio playing more reliably. We have more work being done that will continue to roll out as it gets completed. Thank you, Respawn. Pathfinder fixed an issue with ziplines going through platforms when deployed from underneath. Wraith fixed an issue with priming a grenade, cancelling Wraith's ultimate. Octane fixed an issue with getting stuck in double jump after using a jump pad. Fixed an issue with Octane being able to use healing items while on a zipline. Crypto fixed an issue with his drone being able to drop items from Crypto's inventory. Fixed an issue with his drone not being able to fit through certain windows. Fixed an issue with his drone marking friendly mirage decoys as enemies. Revenant fixed an issue with Revenant getting pushed into Geo when his totem was deployed in tight spaces. Rampart fixed an issue with Rampart not being able to place an amp wall while jumping. Fixed an issue with Sheila teleporting when placed on a hatch in World's Edge staging. So that was it for the patch notes. Boy, was that a hell of a read. So a lot of things changing in Apex Legends for Season 7. A lot of things to try out and look forward to. Again, link to the patch notes in the description down below as well as in the top pinned comment. Keep your eyes peeled for a video about about clubs and obviously all of the new stuff that Season 7 of Apex Legends has to offer. But yeah, that'll be it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.